Hello, welcome to the section where we were covering the what and the why of the consulting cases. Today, we are going to start with the obvious answer of why these consulting cases exist, that is, to help and gauge your problem solving ability. I have discussed this multiple times that problem solving is one of the key skills which is required of being a consultant. You pull up any job in consulting, the job description actually mentions that you have a good amount of problem solving ability. And the good amount, when I say the good amount, the consultants who are actually hiring, they look for a specific way in which you solve problems, not just your problem solving ability. They are required. So you need to ensure that you have the right consulting way of solving problems. And that is what we are going to cover in our entire journey of this particular course, where we will talk in detail on how exactly you can develop those skills, the right way of solving these consulting problems. Now, when I talk about these two things, the very first part of it is comes to my mind is thinking structurally when solving these problems. You know that consultant sits in the boardroom and they are thrown with different unstructured problems in their entire day to day. You need to ensure that as a consultant, you are coming up with the views and the thoughts which are very structured. You translate a very simple statement such as, my business is experiencing loss. And now you need to think about what that means. Does that the loss means that there is decline in profit? Is it a decline in margin? Or does it mean by loss with very different thing? There is a sales volume decline. So let's start with this. You are converting everything which is said, which is unstructured, into something structural. And that is one of the key skills which interviewer would look for when they're hiring. Let's put another example. Let's say you met a CEO. She said that her company is facing declining profits. Okay, a good consultant brain would think in a way which I'll just say. It is very similar. Okay, your profits are declining. Your profits are sales minus cost. The reason where your profits could be declining is very simple. Either your sales are going down or your costs are going up. And that's the only reason. That's the only way possible your profits could be declining. And that's where you started thinking structurally. And this is one of the key things what interviewer would look for. Do you think structurally? Do you have a mindset which will convert anything which is thrown on structurally to you in a very structured way? Now, moving on to the next part and the very important part on how these consulting cases helps as a problem solving meter is providing the ability for the interviewers to test your under the thinking. If you are in a boardroom, you can imagine that you are in a very intense environment. Generally, consultants are called in when there is a business situation or problem which needs addressal as soon as possible. And you can imagine the panic we always walk into while being in a boardroom. So you need to have a good amount of under the thinking. You need to understand that once the managing director, CEO, the board members say something, they expect a view, a thought from you. And that is why it is very important that you have on the to and on the fly thinking. These consulting cases are decided and structured in a very similar way just to test your ability. Can you think on the fly? You would have just 40-45 minutes with the interviewer. In that 40-45 minutes, you have been asked, like, you have 30 seconds, come up with a structure for the case. You have about 30 minutes. You need to simulate the entire thing, solve the problem, use both your analytical and creative side to solve the problem. Finally, you just have 10 seconds to prepare the summary and 2 minutes to present. This is what I call the best way where you can judge individuals on the toe or on the fly thinking. And as I said earlier, this is one of the key skills which is required of being a successful consultant. And that is why we need consulting cases just to test your problem solving ability in terms of two broad areas. One being testing if you have a structural thinking mindset and you can think on the fly. And that is the best way and the best reason you can think about on why these consulting cases exist. I'll walk you through the remaining ones in the next part of the section. Thank you.